we talk about peace, you know, what does peace mean to you, and how does that relate to your practice of coaching?
I talk to people about peace all the time, is that they come into boxing because it's an aggressive, it's a very masculine, results-driven activity. It's not for everybody, but what's available to them is patience and peace, because it's all about the surrender. They're going to have expectations. And it's funny, I was talking to one of my boxers the other day, and he said, you know, people think it's like the movies. You come in, you jump rope, you learn how to do the speed bag, you listen to an old guy tell you what to do, and then you go fight for the middleweight title. He's like, it's not true at all. Like, no one ever tells you about the vomiting or the bloody noses or just how much like determination and discipline it takes. And so just right there alone, it's like the expectation of what the unknown is, but I still have expectations to it, and they get to surrender to it. And it's not about being aggressive. It's about using, again, the patience and being at peace with, and so when I say like at peace, for me, the opposite of that is coming from the expectation. If I walk into something with expectation, then I haven't surrendered, and I'm not living in the moment. I'm either living in the past of what happened the last time, or I'm living in the future of what I think is going to happen. And if I'm too attached to that, when something goes off, like we go lateral, and we're not going on the path that we thought we were, then people freak out, they get a breakdown. But when they're just in peace and in the breath and in the moment, it works out way better for them. Something came up for me when you were talking is that the expectation. And so I think that, I mean, like, I love boxing, and I see how it applies to life, and I'm very like on top of that. But really, this is also just the area where people get to practice the tools. And so it doesn't matter if it's coming into your program or going into learn ballroom dancing. It doesn't matter what it is that what's available is for someone to go in and get a new opportunity. Like I've been saying that a lot, but like a new opportunity for something different. So like, for example, if something's not working in a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or a work relationship or something that is very meaningful and holds value to a person, if they go and step into a new arena, then there's an opportunity there to see how they show up in a new environment, make new adjustments on tools and how to use tools, and then go back to the other places that are more valuable. So like when I talk to parents and young people, because I said I'm working with WKU, so it's a college, and I'm like, I don't care if you guys ever come out of here and have a competition or have or become a champion in boxing, but what I want is that you understand that when you are going for that job interview, when you're talking to the new client, when you're talking to like that girl across the room, that you take the tools that you learned here and you're applying it there. And most people will come back, and it takes sometimes a couple of years, but they come back and tell me, oh, now I get what you're talking about. Vince Lombardi's got kind of a big quote, but it comes down to chase perfection, catch excellence, because there's no such thing as perfection, because perfection is always changing. And for me, actually, I'm going to go way back to the focus that you read earlier, is that what came up for me in that is acknowledging perfection. And I'm always talking to people about how there's two sides of the coin. And so there's the imperfection and the perfection. And it depends on, and for me, being in athletics, it depends on how I use it. It's not like, because there is no good, bad, right, or wrong. It's how I use it. And so I tell my athletes, they get punched in the face a couple times, and they get, a frowny face, they huff and they puff. And I'm like, great. I want you to appreciate like that frustration, that disappointment, that what you thought was going to happen didn't happen. And I want you to embrace that and then shift into it, because you can use that as a fuel to get better, to have that frustration, that disappointment, and go, I'm going to get better because of that. or you can cross the line and let it hold you back and go down that downward spiral of like, oh my God, I suck, I'm horrible, it's going to happen again, I know it's going to happen again. And so for me, what works is actually acknowledging the imperfection, acknowledging the crappy pieces of life, and then getting over it. And so like in those moments of imperfection, whether I expected something or whatever, to go, allow myself to go, and then reevaluate and go forward. And for me, that's what helps me in the peace and the balance. And I'm actually like pretty peaceful. That it's been years since I've had a bad day, because I have bad moments, but I don't let it take me down so it's a whole bad day. And one of the key factors is embracing the imperfections, embracing what I thought was going to happen and it didn't, and allowing myself to feel the frustrations, the disappointments, the guilt, shame, whatever it is that's holding me back, and then go, okay, now I'm ready to step through the door and do something different. So I think that's worth talking about when it comes to the patience and the balance, because it is balance. It's like two sides of the coin. It's 50-50. There is no 100% of one or the other.
And yeah, so Chad, just I kind of wanted to hear a little bit from you about your experience with, with small groups and coaching. And I know that, and setting up a community, because, what are some of the things that you talk to with your athletes and your individuals that you coach and work with that maybe have that, the conversation that I'm talking about, right? They're either resistant or feel that they need to be somewhere, before they can take part.
Who are successful, who are around me, and like I notice like there's a support system. It just breaks it down. It's like it goes back to boxing, whereas self, partnership, and team is that I'm practicing dealing with adversity when I'm boxing with myself. When I go and do stuff on my own, the skills like learning how to use a hammer, that's a skill I get to use. And then how am I going to use this hammer to either build a birdhouse, a doghouse, or a mansion? It's all different things, whether I'm studying the wall or I'm building something. And so that's using those skills by myself and then going and playing in partnership with someone else. And then as a team, I can play in partnership with multiple people. And then I can come back around and take what I learned with person C back to person A and see what else comes up. And now I'm building again. It's just more angles and more opportunity. So I think it's huge to have a support system. And I think that if people are uncomfortable with that, whether it's at work or getting used to your in-laws or you're in the program, you don't want to get into like a small group, or there's some reason why. So what I believe is that we do stuff out of either fear or love. And another way to put that is accomplish or avoid. And so when I make a decision, I get to check myself whether I'm doing it to accomplish something or if I'm really doing it to avoid something. And what I call helicopter view is someone looking out into my life. It may look the exact same way. Like my actual doing of it might look the exact same way, but the root of it is am I avoiding, am I accomplishing? So is it like, and it could be as simple as I'm going to give you guys an out, is that, the small group call is in the morning, that's the only time I get to see my kids. Then missing the call might look like it does because you're accomplishing connection with your family. But if missing the call in the group dynamic is because they're not going to understand me, or they're not going to get me, or they haven't said anything that resonates with me, and they're not going to understand me, then that's an avoidance. And my suggestion is to jump into the uncomfortable. That's the way I get growth, is getting uncomfortable. So that's the breakdown. We can discuss more if you want, but that's why I see the value.
No, that was fantastic.